Welcome, Musky Road Rules Podcast and Patreon. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Every week as I sit here and ramble with somebody about musky fishing. Guys, you can always watch us on Patreon. It's super, super easy. And if you sign up this month, you will be eligible for one of these custom Haymaker musky lures made right there in Wisconsin. They're hand painted. This right here is a walk the dog surface bait that he makes that's 8 inches long, 3 trebles, and a really, really cool, sexy shad paint job. In order to be in the drawing to do this, all you have to do is go to patreon.com, and then you search Musky or Musky Road Rules, and you hit become a member. If you become a member, guys, it's $8 a month. It's not that bad. It's like gambling, baby. We waste more than $8 a month on anything. So become a member, and you'll be in for the drawing for this bait this month, and you'll also be registered for the next months and the next months and the next months. We're going to be giving stuff away every month on here, and it's a great way to get registered to it. So go to patreon.com, search Musky Road Rules, and click subscribe and become a member and get registered for all this stuff. Plus, you're going to get access to every Musky Road Rules podcast that we have up there. And I think now we're in the 50s, probably getting close to 60-some podcasts now that you can watch and see. And you're probably going to see this guest of mine today, probably been on a few times. And that is Mr. Gus Mantey from up in Eagle River, Wisconsin, and from the Muskies on Tap podcast. Gus, how are we doing?
Doing great, Greg. Thank you for having me on today. It's a beautiful May day, and I am just prepping the lures, the rods, the reels, leaders, everything for muskie season here.
All right. So are you one of those guys you put new line on every year and wax the rods and straighten the leaders and make sure the reel turns, or are you like me that just, when things start, you're like, oh shit, I got it. Let me go in the garage and see what's happening here.
50-50 on what you just said there. I sent in a lot of, reels to get cleaned and serviced that were kind of much overdue anyways. So this past winter was a good time for that. Rods, they just kind of sat in the garage for the whole winter or whatever. Line, I relined everything except for, I at least took note, usually going into fall, I line up like 2 rods specifically, like my rubber rods or my big bait rods or something like that with fresh line to go into the fall so it doesn't, freeze as bad. Those ones I don't switch to start the year this year, but most of my 80-pound braid stuff I switched.
Okay, so you're putting new stuff on there. What kind of line are you using?
I've been using the Fins XS big game braid, 80-pound or 100-pound, and I've been really liking it. I think this will be my 3rd year starting with it right now, and I've already used it a couple times this year, south of the Wisconsin border.
Sure. Well, tell us about that. You went down to Iowa and fished some. I know I talked to you a little bit. How was that to get out a little early and do some fishing?
Good. It feels good, going down and getting the rust off. And, I botched a couple 8s and whatnot, but it is what it is. It's good to get those out of the way. But it's fun to go to some stocked fisheries that have no season, just like when we didn't go down to Cave Run this year for the PMTT, but, you got those lakes there. They stock a bunch in Ohio. They stock a bunch in Indiana, Illinois, Iowa. For us up here in the north, our season, it's not short, it's the right amount of, length, but to be able to go to these places and musky fish, it's pretty cool. And being able to kind of learn some characteristics, because going for pre-spawn fish is not something we really have up here on our natural fisheries, just like in, Minnesota or Canada. So very unique, but it's cool. It's cool. A lot of the stocked fisheries south of, Minnesota, Wisconsin, they have a lot of good stuff going on. They stock really well, and they have a lot of good populations. And if you search around, you can find quite a few bodies of water. There's actually more than you think.
Yeah. What did you guys, how'd you guys end up doing down there?
We did well. So, and we went for pre-spawn time frame, and we struggled with 40, 45 mile an hour gusts, and
That's fun.
2 mornings in a row where it was one morning was wind chill of 8, the other was wind chill of like 15
That'd be
rods
wind
and
chill of me looking for a Perkins.
yeah, we
Uh,
got out there anyways because believe it or not, and it was sucky, but there was a morning bite going on, and it took us until the second morning to figure that out. Um, and then the sun peaked out at the end of that trip, and we, did super well when it heated up. And it was kind of the same thing when I went not too long ago. Is we had a horrible cold front. I mean, we had a double storm roll in before we got there, and basically the bottom fell out all week except for the Sunday we left. And all the small fish pushed in and the big fish pushed out. So it took us like 2 or so days to figure it out. But once we figured out where the majority of the fish were and the bigger fish, we started trolling and we started smacking them really good. So, which is not on our bingo card to be going down to Iowa to troll. It's typically go down there and try to cast your butt off on all the new baits that we got over show season. But no, we trolled for our
what were you trolling?
mainly small stuff. We would troll some Leos, we trolled some Bakers, we trolled the chain hammer from Hammer Customs that Nick makes. I'm trying to think what else we trolled. Some small depth raiders. We even got a bite and lost one on a 10-inch jig, so we weren't just trolling small stuff too.
Sure.
While we were trolling, I watched a 4-footer swim around with a 17, 18-inch largemouth T-bone in its mouth. So I'm like, okay, I think we can throw bigger stuff.
We can bump this baby up.
Yeah, we're gonna go a little bigger on a few.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Got some fish, and we're able to catch some things. And despite the weather and all that, I mean, spring is notorious for massive, quick weather changes, and which affects pretty much everything, namely me. And it's one of those deals. But now, before we get into, it's right before Wisconsin Northern Opener. Well, I guess the original opener.
Yeah.
It's open now, and it opened the first Saturday in May. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, it was May 2nd this year, first Saturday in May. That's what was previously called the General Game Fish Opener, back when Musky had its own thing.
Yeah. So with that, I know there was a lot of heated debate online. People were mad, and they were lighting torches and trying to, chase the monster out of town. What, this being the first year of it, and you living up there, and I know you didn't fish, and most of the guys that I know up there probably haven't fished yet for muskie. What's been the consensus? Was there fish caught? Was there a lot of fish caught? Was there, what did you see? What's the local vibe?
Sure. To be honest, for the most part, I didn't see a whole lot. Every once in a while, I got some reports and saw myself on the Eagle River chain, some people out there hucking. I think actually it's the Thursday before the OG opener. There's somebody out there musky trolling, which, is what it is. We're right about at where there's definitely a good amount of post-spawn fish, but there's 100% still some that need to get the job done. And I've been hearing some reports, but honestly, for like catches and whatnot, no. I think with the fact that they opened it early and there's so much flack behind it, there's so much driving force to push it back, that I think even if somebody was out there hitting it pretty hard or going out into the boonies and fishing lakes or what have you, they probably weren't posting, they weren't showing pictures, they were just kind of doing it on their own, which is what it is. We've talked about it on our podcast actually a lot. It felt like we talked about it too much probably, and it got annoying. It started to get kind of annoying to talk about because there's so much going on. It just kind of blindsided everybody, and it's just one of those things. Wisconsin's got the spring hearings that everybody can get involved with, everybody can vote on. the public everywhere. So some people didn't know that. It flew under the radar. It got passed. It's been voted on multiple times years ago. But there's a few issues that I saw in it, is that they got, people that were pushing heavy to open it early were people that don't musky fish much anymore. They're older, and I don't think they really understand the resource right now and where we're at. The fact that we're getting 70% less stocking in the entire state of Wisconsin between walleyes and muskies, funding problems, all these issues. It's almost like when this problem came in, everybody just saw this as an easier issue to push and start, pushing back on. Like, okay, let's start with this, and then maybe we can get to the stocking problem. Let's kind of bash this one. Oh boy, I mean, there's a lot of things to kind of unpack here. Trying to think where I was going with that.
Several places.
Definitely several places. There was some written things by the biologists done. They used studies from not Wisconsin. I think they used a Southern America study, I think somewhere down in the Virginias or something like that.
Don't be blaming us in Southern America.
Them Southern Americans.
Yeah, us Southern Americans. Don't be blaming us. We didn't do that shit.
And then a pike study in Europe. So
that's relatable.
So right, that was the argument there, is that they found, it was a relative, and then also this was a natural fishery down south, which ended up actually just being a 100% river system, which is not what we only have up here. We actually have way more lakes.
That doesn't make sense. The one thing I can tell you is that if the lakes aren't getting stocked, it's not good. And
yes.
If the stocking gets disrupted in any way, we're dealing with that down here.
Yeah.
And luckily over the last few years they've gotten back to full stockings, and that's
good.
And but it's going to take a little bit to get back. I mean, you got to work.
Take 5 to 10 years minimum.
Yeah. You got to work through those year classes. And, this year we've seen a ton of like 28, 38, and that's good. I mean, we need to see those classes come up, and that's something that we're dealing with. And news on the street is that, the ponds are looking really good for this year.
Okay.
But who knows? I mean, that there's, I think there's a lot of variables and like key times that stuff has to go right to get the fish up to the size and everything that they need to throw them in October. I mean, that's kind of what we're waiting on. And I'm sure it's the same thing in Wisconsin there. Now, what was the deal? And I feel like, Chris Farley on the old Saturday Night Live when he was trying to interview people, and he just said, "Do you remember when you remember when that was really cool?"
Sweet.
What was the deal with? Did the tribe get involved, or was there some tribal stuff too? I think.
No, not with this early opener. The tribe did. For a little bit there, completely ban any non-native to basically walleye or musky fish, or use live scope on their reservation, on their chain, and some of their lakes off of it. I believe, don't 100% quote me, but I think legislative in Wisconsin got involved and put an X-nay on that. And that like was maybe just...
What chain would that be? I mean, you're talking...
Lacta Flambeau chain. It's the Lacta Flambeau tribe, just west of Minocqua.
Yeah. Okay. So on that chain, I just heard something about that. I'd kind of seen some things, read a little bit, but wasn't sure kind of what happened. Mm-hmm. But you're saying that you think that has kind of changed now?
I think it kind of surpassed. There's been all sorts of like kind of back and forth issues that have happened. I mean, they've closed roads over there. That was an issue for, I think, 2 years ago. They've bumped up their fees on the ramps, and I think they made it. I think you have to pay like hundreds of dollars if you guide to get a license to go on there. So
Yeah.
they're making it every bit harder to kind of fish those systems and protect them in a sense, which, is what it is. That's its whole own issue. For the most part, that doesn't, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. I mean, I think I saw some spearing reports on this year, and it looked like they didn't spear quite as many as they usually did because we had such a warm up when ice went out. And a lot of fish, I think, just did their thing really fast, and they didn't get up to all their lakes in time. And then it got cold again, and totally regressed it. It totally went backwards. I mean, the DNR said, and we had buddies go join them with Fike nets, and hearing about it, they actually netted tons of muskies that were up and doing their thing like the last week of April. Immediately. And since then, very, very, very minimal reports of in the nets or visually seeing that because of how far back we went with the temps. I mean, it snowed for the first 9 days up here. That's how cold it was.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Well, hell, in the Angle, we had snow flurries. I'm not there yet. I'm still in Kentucky, but in the Angle, we had snow flurries Tuesday of this week.
I saw like full-on whiteout up in Northwest Ontario a couple days ago, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's they've been having weather and everybody's, but now it's supposed to be kind of like what you said before we got recording there. You said it was going to be in the 80s next week, and I think we're supposed to be up there in the 70s, and it's supposed to be 80 something down here, but today it's 58 degrees and raining. And so, but we were, like I said, we were 90. Yeah, we were right at 90, 91 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with 380% chance humidity, which is really fun. Especially if you have my body type, that means there's going to be sweat in places that, I mean, it's going to be, my God.
Crease.
My shirt, it looked like, my sweat was making the patterns of like upside down ice cream cones on my boobs. And it was so bad.
I'm sure people love to see that out in the water. You were making a lot of friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably at one time it might be my new Facebook picture, or Tinder profile.
Good.
Would be that'd be a great look for me and anyone else that is looking to make bad decisions in life. It's really nice. But well, let's talk about this opener you got coming up. You're the original opener when most of the guys are going to start fishing Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this just before. When I put this up, it's going to be after opener a few days. What I want to know is, what are the lakes at right now? I mean, as of today, where do you see, say, the shallow lakes, the deeper lakes? Can you kind of go through them?
Yeah. So I've been fishing really heavily this early May, and in this gnarly weather that we've been having, the bass and walleye fishing has been ridiculously good on the Clear Lakes. And I was fishing those heavily in the time frame that we had 43 to 49 degree water temps in early May. Very cold, but all the wind was really kind of, I don't know, stirring them up in a good way, getting them to bite, which was awesome. This last week, I haven't been out a ton, but just through myself a few times out and some buddies, I'm kind of leaning at low to mid 50s right now on the Clear Lakes, and more like upper 50s into that 60, 60 and a half, 61 degrees on the Stain Lakes, basically time of day dependent. Just this past weekend, there was a walleye tournament out here on the Eagle River chain. And one of my buddies said, first thing in the morning, it was 54. And by the time they got off, it was over 64. So, and it was a hot, sunny 75, 77 degree day. So you're going to see a lot of variability. The next morning, I'm sure it went right back down to like 55, 56. But my guess is that these are mixed into at least 56, 57 right now on these shallow lakes. But the Clear Lakes are just kind of all over the place. But I think it was late last week. I did on a deep clear lake bass fishing. I saw a couple big fish in shallow and caught a really small one on a little X-Wrap in shallow while we were bass fishing. So the ecosystem is there. It's up there. But they looked a little clean yet. So those big, deep, clear lakes, I think, are going to be, you could have a chance at a big one moving in and out of doing its thing. But otherwise, I think those are going to be harder because they're going to be right amidst doing the motion, where I think at least in the shallower staying stuff is what we're going to try first, or at least the smaller lakes are going to be in a better place. And I think that's kind of our game plan there. And I also do want to say this one more time. I didn't want to re-bring this up, but that early opener, for the most part, some people have their opinions on, pre-spawn fish, this and that, when you catch them, if their eggs are going to dump out and all that stuff. For the most part, I really don't think the high majority of great fishermen out there that are going to handle these fish well, are we going to see much of an issue? I think it was just when this issue came out, it was at such a bad timing when we had the lower stocking. And then this came out where there's more opportunity to fish for these fish. But the biggest issue that came out is they dropped it with, they opened harvest to muskies at this time. And I don't think people really realize how many muskies get caught by walleye anglers. Just in the little time I walleye fished on lakes where muskies were there, we caught some, and friends caught some. And, inevitably, I just know for a fact that there's plenty of multi-species anglers that they get a muskie in their boat. And even before the regulations, they'd be bonking that thing over the head because they either thought it was a pike or they could care less about a muskie.
That's what I was going to say. They'd be like, look at this big pike.
Big pike, yep. A lot of big pike get bonked in May that have, vertical stripes instead of horizontal. So. Oh,
I know, man. I laid vermilion there the one time I'm in the gas station, and there was a Polaroid back when people were doing Polaroids, and there was a Polaroid up above the counter, and it said 44-inch pike, and it was from the parking lot by the gas pump. And I'm looking at it going, well, that's not a pike. And I told the lady, I go, that's not a pike. She goes, well, what is it? She goes, is that a walleye? And I go, no, that's not a walleye either. I go, that's a muskie, and that's very undersized for this lake. So you might want to take that picture down if DNR comes in or anything like that.
Yep.
I totally get it. I get what you're saying. So, yeah, well, hopefully it gets all sorted out and things get, maybe they, get this legislation changed, and that would be a good thing.
It'll be a year. There's a hearing and a voting on it, and it got passed, but that was just to kind of have it be brought up again next year in the spring hearing. It wasn't, I don't think it was passed as an emergency. I think every once in a while I've heard that we have had emergency rule changes in place in the past, but I don't know them exactly. I've been told about that is a thing, but I don't think it led to be that much of a giant issue. But we'll see. It's one of those things where I'm going to go out fishing this year, and I'm sure if we have good weather, fishing's going to be good. Myself and buddies, we're going to catch fish. It's going to be a good year, but all these issues are, with how old and slow muskies grow, as everybody knows, we might not see these issues for 8 to 10 years.
Yep. No, I get that. I totally do. But on a happier note, you're going to get.
I was going to say. Yeah. Let's change gears.
I'm gonna stop playing Send in the Clowns, and we'll let's do a little happier here. What are we gonna do starting out? I mean, how are you gonna? What's the Gus secret here for starting out?
Yeah. So opening weekend, it's always my brother Max, buddy Brian, and buddy Jack that hop in the boat. So we run 4 deep. We get the benefit of just chucking all sorts of lures, having a guy out on the Canadian side or working big flats, 2 off of each side. So covering a lot of area. With that, we're going to switch up lures quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in the front might have more search baits or a little bit quicker baits, like possibly a single bladed bucktail, a swimming dog, some sort of faster twitch bait. Where in the back, it's going to be more like a dive and rise that's a little bit more neutrally buoyant. Maybe a slower crankbait. A beaver is always a good option, like a mini beaver. We've even gotten some on opener on the regular size, or a glide bait. Definitely a glide bait is another very good option. So, our first game plan is going to be, always just, unless we see bait out deep or whatever, it's always just going to be starting out shallow. Just see if we can't get like a straggler of a male, just get a fish under our belt, start the year off right. The males go in early and they stay in late during the spawning time frame, and they're always, juiced up and fired up. Those are the ones that you can get that go in like a crackhead mode right from the get-go. So we're going to start shallow. We're going to look for the big bays so that we can run 2 on each side, cover a lot of ground. Next up for shallow spots that we really like are wooded shorelines, heavily wooded shorelines. Like if you look at a big cup bay and you don't see anything within the bay, but then on each side it's steep on the way out, kind of, where the bay is like slowly from 2 to 4 feet to 6 feet to 8 feet slow. But then on the shorelines on the way out, it's like shoreline, boom, 12 feet, shoreline, boom, 20 feet, something like that. If it's got a bunch of wood and gravel on it, you can hook right up to the shoreline, and there'll be some nice fish that we'll sometimes find on like a transition zone, like a neck down of some kind, where it maybe might not look very good on the map, where it just looks boring from the shoreline. We found quite a few fish there. I don't know if that's entirely just because of the heat and the wood, or if it's just because it's an overlooked spot and fish are moving through and people are completely missing it. So we're getting some unpressured fish in that sense. And then another big one is if you're on a chain of lakes or some sort of like big river system, or a larger creek with a heavier flow to it, we're going to look for that current. That's going to hold fish always. All the minnows are going to be packed in there. We're going to be really close to probably the tail end of a sucker spawn.
Yeah.
Give or take. I think it's probably wrapping up by the time we start. But with the coldness, it's probably just getting done. And then by next week with the heat, it's going to be all done. So that's another option there. And definitely don't be afraid. That's why like a reg bulldog, mid Medusa, even like a pit bull or these regular beavers can be pretty good. Typically the shallow weighted versions this time of year, they can be kind of good, because I think some of the muskies are looking at a little bit bigger presentations, but our main program is sub 8-inch baits, smaller than 8-inch lures.
Sure. What's your water levels up there this year?
So we had a lot of rain, a lot of ice, a lot of snow. So we flowed fast and heavy from the start, and then we went dry for a while and even had fire danger in Vilas for a couple days, and we dropped to like normal flow, and I stopped seeing like the buoys on the chain tilting completely sideways. So I think we're at normal, and there's even some of the natural lakes that have no inflow outflow are actually low.
Okay.
But we'll see how kind of that progresses. We got a little bit more rain this weekend, but I think it's going to be fairly dry for a little while, which is not great. I would definitely love it if we had a wet June, and because we've been low for the past while, going into like August and September and even into October. Some of my buddies that do the river thing in rafts and whatnot, they're like, yeah, we've had to drag the rafts over these shallow rapids more than usual, or earlier than usual the last few years. So yeah, I hope we get some more rain.
Yeah, well, hopefully stuff like that will be able to happen there. What is, in your opinion, with this, opening weekend coming up, do you think you're going to see a lot of musky pressure? I mean, do you think you'll see many guys out there, or do you think it'll kind of be a slow roll?
Just because it's Memorial Day weekend, we're going to see a lot of boat traffic out there, especially on Sunday and Monday when we have the nicer weather. Overall, I think it's probably going to be modest. I could be wrong. It could be just, blown out of proportions and there's people freaking everywhere. But if I had to guess, it's probably going to be a slow roll just because there were some people that probably fished in May up here. So I don't know. We always try to fish new lakes on opener every year. We might fish a couple that we have fished before, but we try to get off the beaten path on these. And, once the weekend's over, then I start hammering all the stuff I know really well that might be a little bit more popular and kind of figure out where that's at. And then midweek, there's usually not a whole lot going on. But if it's anything like last fall, there was actually the most pressure we've seen in a long time in the late fall, like October, and even into the nicer days in November. People are still bringing their boat out and hitting it pretty hard, especially that like late September into October. It was like mini tournaments on certain places that you chose on the weekends.
Wow.
And we have all sorts of tournaments. We got, tournaments in the Phelps area in the fall, in like the St. Germain, Eagle River area in the fall. There's a lot of tournaments that go on around here. So,
sure.
You almost got to watch your calendar. And that's what I do. There's certain lakes where I'm like, oh crap, I can't hit that lake for another 5 days. I mean, of course I could, and we could catch fish, but I'm going to bash my head in the wall if I got to, be next to like 8 boats when I'm normally next to 0 to 1 on said lakes.
And all the paparazzi taking your picture out there.
Yeah.
Seeing if this is, screaming, "Guys, look over here!" That is.
So I try to stay incognito up here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, new phone, who dis?
Right.
That's what you'll be doing. What about the weed growth? How's that looking this year on the lakes that you've been on? Does it seem to be? Because here's the crazy thing: down here in the south, drought, water super low, stupid clear, no weeds.
No weeds.
Gone.
That doesn't make any sense, really.
No.
With all the sunlight, they wouldn't start growing up.
No, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
You got probably Hillbilly Joe going out there just spraying it with fertilizer or something.
Fertilizer.
Like, damn them weeds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like salad.
And then he's going to go sleep in his washing machine on the shore of Cave Run.
Everyone should have a kayak. I think that would be lovely. Sometimes you can't afford a Hobie, but you can afford a Maytag. That is, yes. So are your weeds, everything seem to be good? I mean, you got, are you seeing them kind of in the normal places and seem to be growing in the regular pattern?
Normal places and growing a little bit slower. We haven't had enough sunlight, even in the cold days, it was cloudy too. So I don't think we're getting a lot of sun exposure, and we just came off of a really heavy ice and snow year. So, the weeds were not getting any sun, last year, but, the patches you do find of the green stuff, the not slimy and still brown coated stuff, if you can find that green, you're going to find every species that lives in the lake. I mean, especially even this weekend, if you go out and chuck a, little paddle tail or like an X-Wrap or some sort of Rapala or some sort of little jerk bait, you'll probably catch a musky, pike, walleye, bass, big crappie, and perch all in the same lure out of the same spot. So
there you go.
It might take a little bit of searching. And one thing I have not brought up yet is watching where the wind has been going and follow that, because wherever the wind's blowing, that's where the warm water is this time of year, especially on the sunny days. That's where it's pushing all that top layer of that increasing water temps. And that has been extremely important on even like early this year going for smallmouth. I would see like 44, and then I'd get around the corner and I'd see 45.1, and there they all are. There's all the fish. I have, that's like one of the warmer spots in the lake. It's we're where all the active fish are going to be. And then there might be some in like a degree less. But if you're on like the coldest side, at the leeward side this time of year, it's not always that great. You'd need some heavy amounts of sun to actually warm up those sides. So I'd be following the wind for sure.
Yeah, fish don't wear coats.
Yeah.
That would I can totally understand that. Now you sent me some videos. What are these videos up here of? Please tell me I can play them.
You can play. Hopefully it works, and they don't. Which one are you going to show first?
This one.
Okay, that one's with the 9-inch high impact Stuic.
Looks like you're not working it very fast.
No.
There's one.
Bobber down.
Still got it.
Look at that. Nice hooks.
Slow down
Nice
for
hook
sure.
set. Oh my God, you're fighting that like a pro.
Oh, how did I hook him? I think it's
Probably
a little guy. Or I hooked him weird.
Probably with a hook on the bait there guy.
What's going on?
I say dumb shit
weird.
when I'm...
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
So what?
Marks on it? That might be the fish that I just got up.
He clobbered it.
Nice.
It's clobbering time. I think
clobber.
What was the deal on that fish?
I remember that day specifically. We couldn't quite get them to stay hooked, and I think we were working baits too fast. And literally but they wanted dive and rise, and then the only bait I was getting to be neutrally buoyant was this high impact 9-inch Suic, where I could put different weights in here. And as you can see, the weights don't look very big. They made these so that they're already not rising super fast, but I made it neutrally buoyant, and it's not doing a whole lot. Basically, in the dive and rise, I go through a progression on the cold, less cold water, and then finally heating up water, where when it's cold like it was there, and we were missing some bites, and we wanted to set it in their face, neutrally buoyant Suic. If they started to get a little bit, the water started rising a little bit, I'd use either a weighted wood Suic, or then I'd go to a weighted Navin from Chaos. Still keeping it slow. This one will start to go a little bit more side to side than the Suic, but it's still not crazy belly roll, nothing crazy in their face. And then as soon as you get to the warmer temps and you're more in like that low 60s, into the mid 60s, and you got rising temps, I go with something that's a little bit more like a thumpier action. Like this hammer jerk's more got the crazy roll, a lot of side to side, almost acts like a crankbait in a sense, and it's way more aggressive. So no matter what dive and rise lure you have in your boat, just kind of categorize them in a couple ways, where you got one that's neutral, maybe sinking, but I'd say neutral is going to get your most, negative fish to bite. Then you got one that doesn't rise super fast and it goes a little side to side. And then you got one that's squirrely as a mofo, and that's your, spiced up bait. And,
yeah, I kind of do that with trolling lures in the spring. When it's cold, I like real tight wobbles. I like stuff that goes in a straight line, really tight. As it warms up, a little more aggressive. And then once the water gets in the 70s or something like that, I want something that just thumps the hell out of the rod. And it definitely seems to that progression, which is kind of similar to what you're talking about there with your jerk baits. They how they'll kind of go from bleh to something going nuts under the water is something I can definitely agree with.
Yeah, and on that video, I you could see that I was just working it slow, like just pulling the bait, just pulling the Suic, and not trying to slackline smack it, not trying to get too much out of it. I'm actually going, deliberately very, very slow with it, which can definitely be the ticket in the cold water.
Yeah, it can be hard to do too. A lot of guys struggle with slowing them down. They try to work them too hard. Now this video here, we're going to add to the stage. No, go up there. This one. What's happening here?
Look at my buddy Brian, second in. There he goes.
Oh, that's a nice one. Hold on.
it's hard to see at the beginning, but he was slow sweeping an 8-inch
Baby
swimming
got
dog.
on again?
Oh, the bigger swimming
That was
dog.
quick.
Yeah, the 8-inch,
really quick.
the tweener. So they make a 6 now, and then the mag size is the 10.
Try to lift from here.
Nice, dude.
See, you net fish
Nice,
differently
dude.
than me. I like to come down on top, like I'm trying to catch a butterfly.
You like to just on top of them?
Yeah, I like to come on top, like over my shoulder, like I'm trying to catch a big butterfly. And I think that's the best way to really net fish, especially in tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Try that with Max.
I'm sure Rick loves that.
Yeah. Try that with Max and see what he does. Like on opener, just go out there and I got one. Okay, all right, good. Here it comes with the net, and you just like slam it down on top of the water.
He's got like a 30-incher on, a little one. I might try that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I mean, that's like, I heard this new technique. It's supposed to be really safe. It's better for, the economy. And it's, I think that.
How would you come up with this great idea? What'd you do to get this, also to just hit you? Genius idea?
I'm like, everybody goes from under them. Why not try to go over top of them? They'll never see it coming. Now it does scare the shit out of them if you land on them. I've done that. It's just something I thought you should try.
Duly noted.
I think that would be very funny to do that to multiple people. So you got opener coming up. You're going to be out there. How can somebody get a hold of you if they want to come fishing with you this summer?
Yeah, they can get a hold of me just at my cell phone. Leave a text or a voicemail at 920-264-3816. Otherwise, of course, there's Suggs Fishing guide service. That's on Facebook and Instagram, along with a website, sugsfishing.com, SUGS fishing. And then we got all the contacts on Musky's on Tap podcast. That's on Facebook and Instagram, and you can listen to it on all the kinds of platforms, and YouTube. We've just started dabbling. We need to get you on, Greg, now that we're dabbling in the video stuff.
Oh, I love YouTube.
Because we need to get you, just like that one night where you turned the Zoom on and all of a sudden you're, laying in your bed sideways with candle lit. We're like, Greg, what are you doing?
Yes. No, that was sexy time. And I had just put down my book. I was, reading this wonderful novel about the history of the cotton gin. And I was, it was sexy time. I lit a sexy candle. I think it was sandalwood, maybe amber. I don't know. It was nice. I was wearing a robe and, had a nice glass of Chambly. And, it was really nice. But yes. So guys, check out Gus there. Check out some of the stuff they got going on. Also, if you're looking for new baits, maybe rods, maybe reels, some electronics, all that, make sure you check out Thorn Bros. You can find them there in Minneapolis. Some of the most knowledgeable guys you'll find on the reels and the electronics. They've been making rods for 40 years. I've been using the rods for quite a while. And a complete selection of musky baits. They've got the fly angler there as well. And they have just tons of fishing tackle there. So I'm going to check them out at thornbros.com. Also, if you're looking for a new sun shirt or maybe a new set of rain gear, and, as I always say, if you're too fat to wear Sims, try Gill. Gill products. And, you'll probably like it. I found out the other day that now I can fit into a 2X shirt, which really makes me want to drink. I was like, I'm going to
drink more.
Yes, because I was like, oh, all we got's 2X's. Well, I'll buy it. It'll be too big. And I put it on. I'm like, this thing fits like a glove. God damn it.
Shit.
So yeah, I've moved an X, which is always nice. And because you don't want anything tight on this body type right here. This is
No.
You'll be wondering, there's like a mole. Is that a mole? Is it a nipple? Do you have a tick? You don't even want to see. No, God, Jesus didn't even want to see this. So yeah, it's not good. But guys, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Become a member of the Patreon. Gus, I'm going to talk to you a little later. Stay on the line for me, all right?
Will do. Thanks for having me on, Greg.